Hi-ho! Hi-ho!
Hi-ho everyone and welcome back to Inquiry. Today's deck video is the start of a new mini-series where we build a Dock deck for every ink pairing in the game. Dock is one of the best cards in Lorcana at the moment, and today we're starting with one of the best decks in the current meta. Before we get started, a quick reminder to leave a like if you enjoy, it'd be a huge help to the channel and much appreciated. Okay, so Amber Steel Aggro with card draw fueled by Dock is everywhere right now. But today we've done a little twist on the deck to implement some more songs to make us stronger into the mirror and a little bit more flexible when it comes to overall gameplay. You can definitely take this version of the deck a little slower if needs be, and it can be more forgiving in games we miss Dock to draw those extra cards. Starting off with the basics of the deck, just in case you don't already know, the idea behind the deck is to aggressively play out all of our cards turn after turn and then play a Dock as our final card in hand, activating his ability and discarding nothing to draw 2 cards. However, we do have alternate card draw capabilities in the deck in the form of Rapunzel, and have a decent amount of Rapunzel targets like Daisy, Ursula, as well as some other less optimum targets but still great options like Mr. Smee and the Shift Rhino. This extra bit of card draw potential is something we might not see in future Dock decks in the series, so if that's something you need in a deck, this one's for you. Plus, this deck has the added benefit of being extremely explosive in terms of lore gain. Daisy, Penny, Smee, Lady, Goofy, Rapunzel, and Rhino all quest for 2, and flooding the board with these characters is very difficult for the opponent to deal with. But this deck isn't just your average hyper aggro. We have an extensive song package for a little bit more disruption and loads of removal. We all know about the Cindy Storm play. Singing Let the Storm Rage on turn 2 can be such a powerful start, removing your opponent's turn 1 play and drawing a card. We also have the ability to sing Bare Necessities, which can be fantastic into Ruby decks to take away brawls and B-preps. But it's pretty powerful into most things you'd come up against. Being able to discard an action against Diablo decks, for example, before your opponent can discard it for the Shift Diablo can be very strong. We also have 4 copies of Strength of Raging Fire, which synergizes with the deck perfectly, as we're trying to get as many characters out as possible, so this really boosts the power of this card. There's also 2 copies of Then Along Came Zeus in the deck, but I found Bare Necessities to be great, so wanted to include 2 of that as well. Ursula, Ariel, and Rhino are the characters most likely to sing the Zeus, to remove those threats on the opponent's board, allowing us to keep aggressively questing. Usually on turn 3 we'd prioritise playing a Lady to get another 2-drop out for free. However, we do have the choice of Ariel if we need to look for that song. Ariel can absolutely miss a song with the 4 cards we look at, but sometimes Lady isn't an option, and if we've already played an Ursula on turn 2, then trying to find a song can definitely be a better play. Another thing I love about Ariel is opponents often think that you're running a whole new world when they see her, which can lead to them overextending and dumping their hand. And if they don't have a way to recover from that and draw more cards, it puts us in a really strong position for the rest of the game. One thing I'm yet to try out which I'd recommend giving a go is running some copies of Beyond the Horizon, as it can be great disruption as well as good card draw. We have the singers in the deck to sing it quite effectively, so it could be a really good option. Also, if you find yourself coming up against other aggro decks a lot, a copy of Grab Your Sword can also be really great. Okay, so we haven't spoken about Rhino yet. I'm sure you've seen plenty of decks with this little hamster and probably played against him a bunch. But if you don't know, this new Shift Rhino is a real powerhouse and can be played on turn 2, which often is a start opponents simply cannot match. Rhino has resist 2 when he has no damage on him, and with Goofy, Rapunzel and Penny in the deck, we also have ways of bringing back that resist if he does end up taking some damage. This leads to extremely efficient challenges, but also often shuts down anything the opponent wants to do, as they can't afford to exert with Rhino on the board. The 1-cost Rhino is also a great card and suits the deck perfectly. We can pop him down and reduce the strength of an opposing character to make it safe for something of ours to quest, protecting them and getting extra lore value. As I mentioned briefly, Lady's in the deck so we can play her and a 2-cost on turn 3. Usually we want to play Smee for free, but Penny and Ursula or even just a Daisy are 3 great options. I've chosen not to have Piglet in this deck, but by all means you can consider Piglet ahead of Penny perhaps. Penny's my preferred choice as it's even more damage removal, plus being able to give something resist can come in clutch sometimes. Giving a Smee resist, for example, so he takes no damage at the end of the turn is the most reliable use of Penny. So a card we haven't spoken about yet properly is Goofy. I absolutely love Goofy in this deck and have even considered going for a 3-3 split with Rapunzel. With Goofy, at the end of each turn, if any of our characters have damage, Goofy will ready them and heal 1 damage. This is most commonly used with Mr. Smee, as something you can do is at the end of your turn, you can choose the order of which effects take place. So you can put the 1 damage on Smee and then immediately remove it with Goofy and ready the Smee. You'd be surprised how often you can get this to happen as well, and it makes the Smee even better than he already is. Also, Goofy has the added benefit of having that all-important free willpower to act as a good Rapunzel target, as well as questing for 2. One final card we haven't discussed yet is Pete. Pete's an absolute staple in all steel decks, and this is no different. Playing a Pete at any time is good, but timing him well to stop the likes of Be Prepared, Under the Sea, or even stopping an opponent singing of Friends on the other side can be game-winning in some scenarios. Now, let's talk about some of the lines of play. This is a very straightforward deck to pilot, but there are important decisions to be made when piloting the deck. In the mulligan, I'd mostly recommend looking for the Rhino shift line. However, if your opening hand has a Cinderella, always keep a lookout for the Let the Storm Rage on. Another card that's always nice to have in the mulligan is Mr. Smee. Smee's a great turn 2 option, but if we choose to play a double 1-drop on turn 2, holding on to him for the Lady on turn 3 and playing him for free is also incredibly strong. If you have Doc in your opening hand, I'd probably choose to put him back. Having 4 in the deck means we have a good chance of drawing him in later, which can be a better curve for us. My favourite line of play that I'd recommend is turn 1 and 2 Rhino shift line, followed by a Lady and Smee on turn 3. However, going down the Singer route can also be great. Cinderella, Ursula and Ariel can very much control the early game. Then you can follow that up with your 2 questers and completely dominate the board. So that brings us to the end of the deck. As always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask in the comments or give me a message. I'm by no means an expert on the deck, but understand the fundamentals and can help with any issues you're running into. As other versions of this deck are so popular at the moment, there's plenty of other lists you can look at for inspiration. Next time we'll look at an Amethyst Steel Dock deck, and then to my personal favourite Emerald Steel Dock, which is a bit more out there in terms of being a competitive deck, but I think it's so much fun and can actually be a great deck in the current meta. So if you'd like to see that, it'd be awesome if you'd consider subscribing. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.